Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. The season is here, 2021 Major League Baseball. Thank you guys for joining us today on a Tuesday as a nice little primer for the 2021 regular season. Hey, we had to get all the bells and whistles going. We had to get everything we needed to get in order to get ready for opening day. So we figured we'd come on a Tuesday afternoon and talk a little Major League Baseball futures. Check out the esteemed panel today. I'm Donnie Seymour, he's Kyle Purviance, and also Jason Radowitz, my buddy from last year in Major League Baseball. We are back and ready to roll. We're going to set the scene in just a few moments here on what to expect from the Major League Baseball show on sportsbookreview.com and what we will do throughout the season. But before that, let's get into some hi hellos here. Jason Radowitz, it's been a long time doing some shows with you. I'm excited for Major League Baseball 2021, baby.
Yeah, this is great. And it's crazy because usually we go to the MLB season and college basketball is over for us. We're usually outside of the bracket, whatever. But I know you and I both have Houston winning the entire thing. So we still have some college basketball going on, which is great. But the MLB season, what's better? We got a full season. Obviously, last year we got a half a season, and we both destroyed. So it's going to be a double destroying here for the full season of MLB.
No, it was so much fun to do last year. And the best part about it is we always like to expand the product here, make everything better at Sportsbook Review. Look at the graphics are improved this year. We have a full 7 months to get after the Major League Baseball slate and also adding new additions. You guys know Kyle Purviance did the NFL show with me all season long. We had a lot of fun doing it. And the reason why Kyle is here, yes, knowledgeable. Yes, he's very good looking as well, but he has a DFS background, which we're going to add to the show. Optimum lineups, players that have advantages day to day. We are looking to expand to give you guys watching out and say, you know what? I got questions on DFS. I got questions on size, totals, team totals. We have all your bases covered. Kyle, welcome into the show. Welcome to the team in 2021 Major League Baseball here with Sportsbook Review.
Oh, man, I'm so excited. It's actually the first time I can remember in a long time where I've been nervous. You guys did such an amazing job last year. I mean, if I couldn't think of anything on baseball, which happened quite a bit as I was sort of nonchalant about the last season, you guys were so on point. So I'm really grateful, truly honored, really, that you guys allowed me to be a part of it. I'm happy to be here, and I agree. It's going to be a lot of fun. Cheers, everyone. It's a cranberry apple whiskey surprise today. We'll have something special for every show, and I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm really looking forward to the season.
Yep, Esteban behind the scenes here going to make us look good all season long. You see the new graphics that are coming up. So we are here to have a lot of fun, and the baseball show is a lot of fun. All the content that we've done across the channel here is designed for you guys to come in, have a good time, learn some information, maybe pick up a few dollars. But we do thank you guys for supporting everything we do at the network. And I still have that goal in mind here. 84,100 people have hit the subscribe button already at sportsbookreview.com. By football kickoff, Kyle, we've been saying this. And again, you know, you're included as well here, Jason. We need to get to 100,000 subscribers. We're going to make that push. And by giving the best content we can, that's all we ask for. Hit that subscribe button. Turn your notification bell on, because when we get on here to talk some Major League Baseball, Monday through Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, you will get it delivered directly to your inbox. But before we do that and get into all these divisional breakdowns, the seasons are changing out here. The weather's getting better. The azaleas are blooming down. The Masters tournament is coming up. Check out this promo for what we got going on at sportsbookreview.com.
Hey everyone, it's Flash here from sportsbookreview.com, and it's less than 2 weeks away till we smell the azaleas. We drive down Magnolia Lane and someone's going to get a green jacket. So that means we're at Augusta. It's the Masters. Now, how would you like to win $200 courtesy of SBR? All you've got to do is send a little video mini clip in of giving me your winner and your outsider. And your outsider must be of plus 5,000 or more. So it goes something like this. Hi, I'm Gordon Watson. My winner is Dustin Johnson. My outsider is Brandt Snedeker. And what you've got to do is send that in to videoteam@sbrforum.com. You've got till Wednesday, the 31st of March, midnight Eastern time. No more will be accepted after that, because on the 5th of April, live on the Masters show, I'm going to show your clips prior to the expert picks. So remember, send your video clip into videoteam@sbrforum.com. We'll show the world that you know what you're talking about. It's the Masters, and you take care.
I mean, got to be the best guy, best looking guy on the channel by far. Flash Watson. He's doing a job out here. How about that, huh? How about that? By the way, Kyle, I know you're big into golf as well. Looking forward to this. The Masters coming back. And by the way, Kyle, did we just have a Masters? Oh, yeah. We're getting one back to back here.
Oh, and don't forget, I was on that show. We gave out the winner on that show, 14-1, Dustin Johnson. We had a lot of good picks on that show, and I'm really happy that they're allowing me to come back for that again. 2 Masters in 6 months. Gotta love that. And I love golf. I love going out there and, breaking my clubs. And I spent way too much money on them. And first tee time set up for Thursday after our first opening day show. So really excited for the Masters and everything we're doing at SBR, of course.
Yep, we're hoping Kyle makes it to the second week of the Major League Baseball. As always, hey, you never know what's going to take place here, but we'll get it kicked off. Now, what to expect here from the show in 2021? It's a lot of the same from last year. We want to give out good information. We want to give out a lot of picks, but more importantly, we want to give out a lot of winners. So the goal of the show, the same thing last year, Jason will remember. We're going to pick 5 games on the day to start the show off, just so we don't veer off course and hit every game and you come in and say, hey, what's going on here? Usually the 5 top games, Yankees, Red Sox, Phillies, Mets, whoever the top games are. Then we're going to slide off and make sure we touch on each and every ball game every single day. But also we added a new feature this year at the end of each show. Now today might be a little bit different. We'll go over it with the final thoughts, but we're going to have clear the bases, which means anything that you think you missed coming into the show. And yes, the people that say, hey, did you cover the Phillies Mets? Yes, we did that the second game. You can see it right there. We will still answer your question. So it's going to be a lot of good information flowing through in the action-packed hour. Some days we'll come in, guys, as you know, 35 minutes real quick and short. Sometimes we need that extended time, but we'll make sure we get you guys the information here. Jason, I loved it last year, the way it worked out. The top 5 games, hit every game on the card. It was a good thing.
Yeah, and we went most of the time. We went all games towards the end, and we would just kind of hit it quickly with in 1 to 2 minutes, and it was lots of fun, lots of information, really quick information. Because Donnie speaks fast, I try to talk fast, so we just kick it out. We get it out there, and within an hour, everything should be all good with everyone. So.
Yeah, that's what we had to blend in with Kyle here. We got 2 East Coasters here between me and Jason. We have Kyle out there on the West. He's going to slow the show down for us. But anyway, Let's get back to the point here. Kyle, during the show, we're going to give out picks, plays, all that good stuff. Real quick here, the DFS side of it that you can add to it. You don't need any optimizing, lineups and stuff like that. But key information, Kyle, that you're going to be able to provide to the listeners this year when hitting into Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and I have I use a pretty advanced chart. So we'll have batter versus pitcher history versus batter, weighted OPS over the last 3 years versus pitchers from that arm style, all sorts of things that we can do to add on. Of course, we'll be keeping a close eye on the weather, especially in April. We know that can adversely affect everything with baseball. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So every stat that I can possibly give out that will give you any advantage, especially early in the year, because we're going to talk about this in a minute, and without me rambling on too much, already slowing down the show, here we go. Baseball is, it's different every year. No 2 seasons are created equal. So it does take time to see what these players are doing in the new year. So every piece of historical and current information I can give out for DFS, that's what we're going to do. We've had a lot of success with it, and we're going to continue it on right here. I'm really excited for that aspect of it as well.
Great stuff in as well. And we like to keep everything the same time. So Monday through Friday throughout the season. It's basically 7 months of baseball we're going to bring you here at sportsbookreview.com every single day at 2:30. Even if you don't catch it live, you can watch the replays. We'll have that active chat and comment box. We'll try to get in here as much as we can. And also stick around at the end of the shows. If you have any questions firing off into the chat box, it's always still live. I find it amazing. Even after the show, people still chiming in, and we'll see how long we can hang out, answer any pertinent questions you guys have, because information is king, is what we like to say. We feel just as good as filling our wallets here with our own bets than saying the next day, hey, man, Kyle, hey, Jason, that was a great play yesterday. Thank you. What are you looking forward to today? That's the goal of the show, and that's what we're going to hit on. So let's not waste any time and start having some fun. Now, we could talk all day long about each and every team. Here's what we're going to do today on the show. We're going to hit some futures, give some pertinent thoughts on some of these division winners, division losers, Cy Young Award winners, and MVPs. It's basically a celebration day to say, hey, Thursday, when we get rolling and hit every single game, you're going to know and be ready for it here. So let's not waste any more time. NL East. Yes, it starts and it ends with the NL East. Now, as I see some factors out here, the New York Mets is a favorite. I don't agree with that. The Braves plus 140, Nationals plus 650, the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 850, and the Miami Marlins at 32-1 to win the division. We saw the offseason moves of the Mets. Now all of a sudden a big money team, which, man, Bernie Madoff was my favorite best friend here in Philadelphia because he kept the Mets down. The Mets were a sleeping juggernaut. Jason's Mets, as I should say. Now they're back getting all the talent. That 1 through 8 is amazing. And if you look at it in the NL East, by far, to me, the best roster. It's going to be tough to knock with the Mets. Jason, I'll start with you. NL East futures. What are we looking at here, buddy?
Yeah, so let me just start off by saying I'm not a big futures guy in the first place. I make my money during the season. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a Mets fan, so I'm going to be biased here. But of course, they did add a big bat in Francisco Lindor, and hopefully we can get him signed before the season begins. But really, like Donnie said, they have 1 through 8. They're fantastic, a lot of hitting, and obviously that DeGrom when Syndergaard comes back later in the season. They're going to be a great 1-2 punch. Add Stroman, add the rest of the pitchers like Carrasco, who will be back pretty soon. And the Mets look like a really, really great team. Look like the team that can win the NL East for sure.
Alberto Blanet says, yes, the Marlins are 32-1. They're probably not 32-1 against the Phillies since they dominate my Philadelphia Phillies the past couple years. You can't figure that out. But also saying, Rye Cape, Mets look good on paper, overrated. That's always the leap you have to take. Yep. Talent-wise, by far the best team in the division. Now, also you have to factor in as well, when you're looking at the Mets and you're looking to make a surge, they got big money now. When the trade deadline comes, it's not like, hey, we can't go over a certain number and pay the bills. They're going to be able to go out and get whatever they need at the break. If I'm looking for maybe a longer shot, maybe the Washington Nationals at 6.5-1, just because if they can keep their top 3 healthy in the pitching rotation, they can do some damage. The Atlanta Braves, very good baseball team. My Philadelphia Phillies improved over last year. They're going to be better just because they actually have a real bullpen, at least on paper, this year. But I don't think the Phillies are going to do enough damage to overtake either the Braves or the New York Mets. And again, going up against the Nationals, if they have those top 3, will be tough. Kyle, I'm going to get to you. NL East here. What are you looking at?
Hey, I'm glad you brought up your Phillies because and I'm with Jason, futures and Major League Baseball is very difficult to do, and I would never recommend breaking the bank doing it because it's one of those sports team sports that's very unique. When the NBA season starts, look, LeBron's going to average 25, 8 and 7. Giannis is going to average 28, 8 and 9. But in baseball, a guy can go from hitting 322 and 38 home runs till the next year hitting 212 with 15 home runs. Baseball is such a mental sport. I like to call it the golf of team sports where the yips, I mean, we've seen it like Brady Anderson really stands out in my mind way back in the 90s. Comes out of nowhere, boom, hits 50 home runs, never gets close again. A guy like Chuck Knobloch, all-time all-star, just a great player, all of a sudden cannot throw the ball from second base to first base. So no season is created equal in baseball. So you could have all the names in the world, but if that guy's got the yips, has a weird season, he just can't see the baseball. Your Philadelphia Phillies, I think, are kind of interesting when you're just looking at sort of value. I mean, it's easy to take the favorites, and yeah, the Mets, the Braves, they're great. Of course, we're going to get to the Yankees and all them, they're great. But when you actually look through the teams who have something to build upon, the Phillies were 5th in runs scored, 7th in home runs. The bane of their existence was really their pitching. They bring in Anderson, they bring in more to sort of stabilize the back end of that rotation. If the Phillies can keep scoring runs and get some decent pitching, I think they could make a run there and post some value at plus 850, plus 900.
They have big tickets there because you're talking about the Marlins again, 32-1, Phillies 8.5-1, leading up with those New York Mets. So I'm going to go chalk in the division. And the good thing about when you're trying to do chalk, in NFL, you get a lot of injuries. It's a short season. One team can get hot and overtake you for the division. Yeah. In Major League Baseball, you get 162 games. Like if your team is really good, it has a long time to make sure that, oh, yeah, they are really good. So quick favorites in the division. I'm going to go with the New York Mets at the plus 130 number. Jason, who are you going with in the NL East here?
Yeah, I would go with the Mets too, of course. But, you have to remember, we have – the Marlins made the playoffs last year. You have 4 other teams that are very capable of making to the playoffs as well. So these teams, they're all playing a lot of hard competition. So it can really go either way. So, like, if you're looking for, a long shot, the Phillies, the Nationals are the better choices. But the Mets probably have the highest percentage of winning the division. So I would say the Mets. But if you want a better deal, you go to the Nationals. Or you can even look to the Marlins or the Phillies, So either way.
And we'll see also what you get on the Mets at the second half of the season with Noah Syndergaard coming back from his injury. If he was ready to go opening day, lights out, watch out. But it's not the case right now, so we'll see how it goes there. Kyle, your thoughts here on the NL East winner. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going the chalk side, I do think I'm not big on teams who make these massive adjustments and have to try to figure it all out. And we've seen over the years, sorry, Jason, that the Mets can't seem to get out of their own way. So if I'm taking the top end of the division, I like the Atlanta Braves, young, up-and-coming team. I know they have some little adjustments to the rotation, but really I think there's nice value in the Phillies, so I'm going to go with your Philadelphia Phillies, Donnie. How about that? Throwing some good
make me feel good opening day. Yeah, we're all winners.
I like the value there. I just think the foundation is set there. If Aaron Nola and the rest of that rotation can pitch well, I think they have the ability to score a lot of runs and give a lot of teams a lot of trouble this year. So I'm gonna take some value on the Phillies at plus 850.
Hey, can't fault you there. Why don't we flip it over to the NL Central and take a look at some of the odds here. St. Louis Cardinals coming at the top at plus 105. Milwaukee Brewers plus 280. The Cincinnati Reds at 380. The Chicago Cubs at 450. And the Pittsburgh Pirates. And look, they're 75-1. That's not to win the World Series, which is ridiculous odds as is. They are 75-1 to win their division. That shows you the state of baseball for the Pittsburgh Pirates. You look at the Cardinals, what do you like in the offseason? Who doesn't like getting Nolan Arenado as your third baseman there to go along with Goldschmidt to have those two titanic corners in the infield? But I do still have a sneaky suspicion here that Lorenzo Cain coming back, maybe a bounce back with Christian Yelich over a full season. Milwaukee's got a 1-2 punch like we haven't seen in a long time in the bullpen. I think they have a sneaky suspicion. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Brewers at plus 280 as a dog here. Jason, I'll lead off with you right here for the NL Central. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I'd be on the same
play
as you. I think there's a lot of hype over the Cardinals due to Arenado coming over, but I'm not sure the Cardinals are really that great. Even with Arenado, you got the Cubs. They got rid of a ton of talent this year. Lester obviously wasn't much of a factor last year, but Schwarber and Dwayne Underwood, a ton of guys that left the Cubs. So you thought maybe they were in rebuild mode. They did end up keeping Chris Bryant. Rizzo, they can't really figure out extension with. So the Cubs are probably going to be selling by the deadline. So, and obviously the Reds, they lost Bauer, and obviously they're not the best hitting team in the league as well. So I think the Brewers are really the best option here. If you're looking at the NL Central, I think there's a lot of hype around the Cardinals. I don't think they're good enough. I like the Brewers. I think that we do see a bounce back from Yelich. I think obviously getting Lorenzo Cain back is huge. And I think their pitching is probably the best in the division. So, yeah, I'd go with the Brewers here as well.
Taking a look at the NL Central here, Kyle, you're getting some good numbers here on like the Cubs, like pedigree teams that still have some talent, but the Cubs, for some reason, not really in buyer's mode and with a massive market, unlimited funds. It's kind of odd to see what the Cubs are trying to do instead of adding, really subtracting and try to get under a salary cap number, which is odd. If we're taking a look here, are we going? Because I like the overall lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals 1 through 8 in the field. I think they hit. I think they got speed. They got fielding, everything you need to win. But I'm trying to look to see if I can find that dog, which is where I settled on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cincinnati Reds lost a couple pieces, but still a pretty good team from the plate. What are we looking at from the NL Central here with the winner, and maybe some quick thoughts on it as well?
Yeah. For me, you guys nailed it right on the head. I love Milwaukee. I do think Milwaukee's the team to beat in this division. And if you're looking for a little bit more value, I do think the Reds are right there. Now, and Jason touched on it. They're not a great hitting team, and they lost some pieces, but they always seem to find a way. I do think late in your fantasy drafts, if you're playing season long, you can get Jesse Winker way late. We're talking like the 23rd, 24th round, hitting leadoff. I do think he's showing some signs of being one of those consistent players. So if the top of the Reds order can get on base and produce some runs, and look, we've talked about it, a less juiced up baseball, maybe some of that other stuff boo, boo, boo. We all say that, and no universal DH, boo, boo, boo. Get out of your way, baseball. But I think the Brewers and the Reds make a lot of sense for me. I put a little bit of money on Milwaukee. I do think, just like Jason said, we see a bounce back year from Christian Yelich. I think he's the best player in that entire division. I like the Milwaukee Brewers, and I don't mind a little sprinkle on the Reds as well.
It's interesting. So I'm going around, and most of the sites that I look at have the opening day rosters up, or what they think are going to be the opening day lineups. And it's such a sore spot for me. It was so much fun. I'm a team total over player. And what they did to me in the offseason was say, you know what? You made a lot of money in the NL. We're going to put the pitcher back in there. Good luck with that. And you know what? Also, we're going to take a little juice out of the baseball. So have a lot of fun with that. Is this the only sport in the world? I mean, if I try to equate it, Kyle, I'm going to start with you real quick on this. If I try to equate it, the NFL says you can't throw a pass over 25 yards. We go back to two-line passing in the NHL where you can't do that. And in basketball, there's no three-point line and there's no shot clock. Is baseball just trying to lose all their appeal? Kyle, please.
They've been doing it for years, and I don't understand it. And look, we could even look at the steroids era with baseball and doing this. First of all, it was not illegal for these players, against baseball rules, by the way, to use the steroids. And then they spent the next 15 years demonizing every single player that people of our generation grew up loving to watch. And I don't know why they won't get out of their own way. It's this old-timey sort of old ratchet type mentality that baseball has. They just don't want to move on from some of these ridiculous rules. I can't think of a single baseball fan who wants the ball less juiced and who doesn't want a designated hitter on every lineup. I can't think of one. And if you are one, please do better. Like, what in the world's happened? Drink different water or something. Something's wrong with you. I don't get what baseball's doing. Hopefully they come around soon, but we just got, we're just going to have to deal with it, I suppose.
Like capping change from last year, because we're all chameleons here in this business. You better adapt or you're going to die. I was a huge team total over guy. April is going to be interesting because last year, Jason, when we started our show, juice baseball, DHs both leagues. Oh, look at this. June, July, hot weather right off the bat. That's going to be interesting to watch in April. But your thoughts here, because I understand it's a bargaining chip. And next year, I almost can guarantee there will be a DH. Why it's a bargaining chip, I have no idea what Major League Baseball thinks is going on. But just changing conditions here, Kyle, from last year of what we saw to now saying, all right, the ball's going to be juiced a little bit less and also no DH. What's your thoughts on that quickly?
You meant Jason, right?
Jason, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, so think about this. Now, I'm a big first 5 under guy. So that might be the play moving forward, especially in April. Those first 5s, yeah, I love a juice baseball when I take the over, but there's a lot of times where I'll look at, pitching, and I love capping pitchers who are really good at what they do. Those Cy Young pitchers in the first 5 innings, you don't have to worry about the bullpen ruining the game in the 8th or 9th inning or whatnot. So I think there's some benefit to, the differences here with no DH or whatever. But, I mean, obviously the odds makers are going to adjust as well. So we got to wait and see what happens, but it'll be interesting for sure.
Like, we didn't have last year, Jason? We didn't have to say, I have a team total over, I don't know, let's just say first 5 innings, 3.5 for the Mets. I didn't have to look in the 5th inning and say, oh, no, DeGrom's due to bat second. Like, we didn't have that problem. He said, okay, let's get a rally together, as opposed to where the pitcher is coming up. So different dynamic heading into the year. But again, the American League does not have that. But you're looking at a first 5 under. Does anybody want to say 39 degrees, Jacob deGrom's throwing 99 on the black? I mean, that's not going to be a fun hitting predicament for any team that's going to have to face him starting off. So it is interesting. But it's a shame that Major League Baseball really missed the boat here, because if you're looking from a betting perspective and a DFS perspective, 6-4 is so much fun and has everybody interested. 1-0 every once in a while is cool. But 3-1s, 3-2s, come on, we don't need that in Major League Baseball, but we could spend the entire show going off on this tangent, and it'll play out the entire season when we hit these games and go, hey, look at the Phillies. They scored average of 2 runs over the last 6 games, and I'm going to be like, you know what? I think I need a day off at this point. But let's hit out the NL West. Talk about a day off. How about those Dodgers? -300 to win the division. Now, sometimes you would look at that and be like, well, the Dodgers have 2 starting lineups, ridiculous pitching, unlimited funds, and their lineup should be illegal. I get it. But I sort of feel bad here, Jason. I'll start with you. For the San Diego Padres, they're +200. Any other division, they're like, this is our division. But they're with the Dodgers. The year they decide to spend, the Dodgers go, bartender, give me another beer over here. And they just go one up everybody. Hey, we got some money laying around. Trevor Bauer, sure, bring him on. No big deal. Yeah. David Price is going to make like $30 million a year. He can't even crack the starting lineup to be a pitcher. Jason, thoughts on the NOS? Is it Dodgers and everybody else? Or you got some sleepers in this division here?
Yeah, I mean, of course it's the Dodgers, and they're obviously favorites to win the entire World Series once again. But I think that's the difference in baseball. Usually, we can predict in the NBA the Lakers will be there. We can predict that the Patriots were going to be there with Brady. We can predict all that. In baseball, you can't predict any of that. You just never know what could happen in terms of injuries, in terms of guys performing. It's such a long season, and anything can happen in it, and you just can't predict it nearly as much as you can in all the other sports. So that's why there obviously is value on the Padres. They're a fantastic team. They just went out, got Yu Darvish. They got Blake Snell in their starting rotation, which was already pretty dominant as it was. And let's see if Paddock can get a little bit better than last year. Obviously, his rookie season, he was fantastic. And then obviously didn't pitch nearly as well in his second season. But he's got the tools to be really good as well. And, of course, we can talk about the hitting all day with Tatis and whatever. The Padres clearly have value at +200. But yeah, it's going to be tough against the Dodgers. But both these teams, they get the feast on the Diamondbacks, the Giants, and the Rockies.
Yeah.
That helps both of them for sure.
I mean, look at the 3 in this division, Kyle. The first 2 teams, obviously with the Padres and the Dodgers, so talented. And then you just have teams that are like, can I get out of this division? I don't even want to be here. 50-1 the Giants, 65-1 with the Rockies, and 75-1 for the Diamondbacks. You take a look. Look at the Here's the opening day lineup for the Dodgers anticipated. Kershaw's going to take them out. Fantastic. Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, A.J. Pollock, Max Muncy, Will Smith, and Gavin Lux. And it's like, where do I sign up? Kyle, thoughts on this? Is it the Dodgers? Do the Padres challenge? And is everybody else just like, when does the season get over here?
Yeah, and listen, I grew up a Giants fan, okay? I've been a Giants fan since I was 5 years old, so that's a long time. That's, Ronald Reagan was still the president, okay? So I try to do everything in my power to come out here and be, the sarcastic ass that says, my Giants are going to make a run at 500-1. But no, it's not going to happen. Obviously, no one in their right mind is doing a futures bet at minus 250. Who in the world would do that? That makes absolutely zero sense. And I do think the Padres are loaded. I do think the Padres can be right there. I love what they've done. So I did sprinkle a little bit on the Padres. I think that's the value. I mean, the Padres aren't even favored in their division, but they're the third highest odds to win the World Series, for Christ's sake. So this is a very, very, very good young baseball team. And then if they can do a 2 years future, what you want to bet on is the Padres do really well. They get to the World Series and then they sell off the entire team next year. Trust me, I lived in San Diego for 17 years and saw them do this repeatedly. Anytime they're good like this, just get ready to see Fernando Tatis on the Boston Red Sox next year as they sell off the entire roster. I do think the value's on the Padres. Talking about the other three teams doesn't make any sense. Those two top teams are so loaded, top to bottom, rotation, bullpen, lineup. It doesn't matter. It's almost not fair. Dodgers, Padres, I think you throw the money on the Padres and hope they can figure something out and squeak past the Dodgers. That's how
it's hard. It's hard to even factor out a future because even if, let's just say you said, let me just take the Padres at plus 220, plus 250, whatever it is to start the season. Even if they got out red hot and turned into a favorite in that division, let's just say they had a 5-game lead over the Dodgers by May 5th. It's not even really worth to go back on the Dodgers because they would be like plus 105. So exactly. Right. Your point taken is why are you going to lay minus 330? And most of us, again, we're not dealing with, I'm going to Las Vegas and dropping off $250,000 at minus 330 because I really want to make a profit. Most of us are dealing with a few $100, and that doesn't make all that much sense to tie that up for 7 months and then be like, oh, I want $100 for 7 months of work. Better off just having Alex's lemonade.
By the way, that's risky to do in Vegas because when you start doing that and get a little braggy and make some bets, some of those seedy women find you, and then things happen. I'm just going to leave it at that. I was just there.
Next thing you know, you're not forget about your bank account, but your online wagering. Like, why am I down 6,000 this week? Who bet this team? Yep, it ain't your fault. So you're absolutely right there. Let's head over to the American League and have some fun here with this one. AL East, New York Yankees minus 220, Tampa Bay Rays plus 420, the Toronto Blue Jays plus 420, the Red Sox at 20-1, and yes, those Orioles 75-1 to win that division. Yankees, obviously we know big money. If, and it's always an if the Yankees 1 through 9 stay healthy, they can bash with anybody in the league. And also when you take a look like, hey, maybe the Rays can battle the New York Yankees. Here's the issue. A little bit less depleted now from that run getting to the World Series, losing a couple pitchers. We do expect Tampa Bay just keeps rolling on because that's what they do as an organization. But there's that one team glooming out there, Toronto at plus 420. Here's my issue with Toronto. Love the baseball team. 1 through 9, they're going to be a fun roster. If their pitching can hold up, they are going to be in it. And if the Yankees, hey, Garrett Cole, we're talking about pitchers here, power arms. They can go down at any time. And we do know Stanton and Aaron Judge are due for a 60-day DL stint in any given moment. But the fact that Toronto might have to play in Florida, then in Buffalo, then maybe back in Toronto, they don't even have a home. Look at what the Raptors are going through right now. A good basketball team buried under 500, don't even look like they care. Why? Because they don't have a home at this point. Jason, I'll start with you first. AL East, is this the Yankees division or those talented Jays? They got a shot in this one?
So the Blue Jays, they just lost Kirby Yates, their big signing for their closer. He's getting Tommy John surgery. That stings a little bit. I think the biggest question is with the pitching staff, right? They're getting a bunch of pitchers at the back end of the rotation, guys that, have had success before, but aren't really great right now. Guys like Robbie Ray, guys like Steven Matz, Tanner Rourke, Ross Stripling. These are all guys that have done it before, but they haven't been good recently. Obviously, you have Rayo and Pearson. Pearson's a rookie, or he'll be a second year in the league. So, the big question mark is really with their pitching. It's not their lineup will be fine. They got Springer. They got a bunch of young talent, Bo Bichette. Guerrero Jr. They're going to be fine with their bats, especially against some of the rotations like the Orioles and Red Sox have. But I like the Yankees here. I think minus 200 probably isn't enough. I think it should be higher. So if you were to bet it, I would bet the Yankees. Obviously, minus 200 for 7 months of work. Not my cup of tea here. But the one team would be the Rays. I think they have the most value there. Plus 500. Like Donnie always says, they're always there. They always find a way. And let's not worry about their starting rotation. We don't care about it. We care about their bullpen, and they always have those arms that get the job done inning after inning after inning. Obviously, a longer season, that might make the Rays struggle a little bit more from overuse. But at the end of the day, I think the Rays have the best shot. If you're looking at plus money, obviously the Yankees, I think they're the favorites, and they should be more favorites than minus 200.
I agree with you there, and I took them as well as my division, minus 220, even took the Dodgers minus 300 because you're not laying a lot of money down, and I'm not passing. If I have a decided look at a team, I mean, the price is going to be the price. We're not just going to come on here and say, well, I'm not going to take a minus 220. I'm just going to take a 75-1 and see if it works out. Sure. It usually does not work out, particularly in Major League Baseball, so we're not just going to throw some stuff up against the wall. Kyle, take a look at the AL East, and before I get to that, opening day, ready? We're excited. We're ready to go. I'm going to read you some of the degrees here. 54 degrees, 34 degrees, 52 degrees, 36 degrees, 49 degrees, 40 degrees. Hey, 66 degrees out there. Out west, 79, but back in the middle of the country, 54 degrees. And how about this? Mets Nationals, 44 degrees. Fantastic stuff. AL East, Kyle, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a whole lot of first 5 unders, doesn't it? You got the team's best pitchers and a bunch of cold weather. We're probably going to be smashing, spoiler alert, 5 or 6 of those.
Team total over 1.5. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes a ton of sense. Listen, I love Toronto, and I know I kind of like the idea of them playing in Florida early on, some of that warmer weather, let those young bats get going, let those arms get going. And I'm a little biased. I love this team. I call them the 90s All-Star baby team. I love Biggio and Bichette and Guerrero. I love having all these guys on the same roster. We're going to talk about some long shot MVP guys. I love Yordis Gurriel. I think that he's really on the verge of becoming a real run producing guy at the bottom end of that lineup. It's really going to be about the pitching. You're right about Tampa Bay. They're always in it, and they're always a nice value at plus 500. But I actually do like Toronto. I think this team can score enough runs if their pitching is right and Ryu can, have everything going on. I think Toronto has a legitimate shot here. I sprinkled half a unit down on Toronto's future at plus 375 at Bet Online. I like the number. I wish I would have found the plus 420. I like that even better. I mean, that sounds obviously a little bit better, but I like Toronto. I just love the young bats. And what I like about teams like Toronto, with their lineup being young and durable, they're not going to be hurt. You mentioned the Yankees. Look, Judge and Stanton go on the 60-day DL. Yeah, they still have bats galore, but that happens to them every single year. I feel like you have a better chance of Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. being healthy all year than you do of Stanton and Judge. So I think there's some value on Toronto, and they proved last year they could fight through this adversity playing all year in Buffalo. I think they're ready to do it again. They'll eventually get back home to Toronto, so you might see some lethargic behavior later in the year when they're finally allowed back in Canada. But no, I think there's value on Toronto. I like them a lot on multiple fronts.
Yep, it's value. Value is this show throughout the entire summer as we go over best bets and bankers every single show, some additives on each game, who we like team total-wise, over-wise, under, who's a hot starting pitcher, who's not. We are going to rock and roll all summer long to get you through. And the best part about it is the chat box is going to be a monster part of it. Once we get into these shows with the 200, 300, 400, 500 people watching live, it's really going to motor. And that's very important at the end of the show that we take some time out and talk to the chat box. So during the season, get ready for that. We will hit that and hit that hard. Let's keep going around the horn in this one. So again, just to clean up here on the AL Central, if I'm actually, did we do the A? Am I skipping?
AL East.
Yeah, look at that. AL East. Yes. Wrapping up the AL East. Yankees for me. I was getting so I'm reading the chat box. I'm like, boy, I can't wait to start capping games. And I'm already skipping over the AL Central. One of the best divisions in baseball. One of the more intriguing ones. Are we waiting for the White Sox to take control? Are we looking for the Twins to stay on top there with Jose Barrios and the boys? Or also, is there some deep shots? Because I put out a video today teasing maybe a deep long shot in this division that some people aren't thinking about. So if I'm looking at the top, I have the Twins at plus 110 overall. If they're right up there with the White Sox. But Jason, is there another team you're looking at in this division?
Yeah, I like the Indians. Obviously, like I always say, I'm a big guy. I love pitching. When a team has pitching, they have a chance to win. And you got Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac, Aaron Cavalli, Tristan McKenzie. I mean, they got a ton of pitching there. And I thought their hitting really underperformed last year. Obviously, yes, they're without Lindor in that trade, but I think their pitching is fantastic. I think their offense definitely starts figuring it out this season. So I've seen them anywhere from like plus 700 to plus 950. Bet Online has plus 950 right now. So I love that. And, with the White Sox, they just lost Eloy Jimenez for quite some time now with a pec strain or whatever he did, trying to rob a home run in spring training, which he should have never been doing in the first place. But, I just think the Indians have a great chance. They added Eddie Rosario, who's been at that division before. He's a great power bat from the left side. Other guys like Franmil Reyes, Josh Naylor, these guys can definitely overperform this season and help out as well. So with a great pitching staff and a quality lineup, I really do think that the Indians have a chance to win the division here. And I'd also talk about the White Sox under 90.5 wins. That's another one of the bets that I'm going to be making official. I just don't like the White Sox here. I think it's the Indians versus the Twins, really. But I think the Indians, with their pitching, I think they have a chance.
Yeah, looking at the opening day projected lineup here for the Cleveland Indians, obviously Bieber's going to get the ball, but Cesar Hernandez, Eddie Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes, Jordan Luplow, Ahmed Rosario, Jacob Bowers, Roberto Perez, and Andre Jimenez to start it up. Kyle, taking a look at the AL Central here. White Sox, that real trendy team. Yeah. Looking at them last year, trying to project this year, they have all the components to win. The Twins always feisty. And then those Cleveland Indians, which Jason is calling for a nice little deep shot of plus 750 here in the division. Or now,
okay.
Look, maybe we don't have to win divisions here, but you saw me when I'm talking about the Birdman going like this, like, whoa, this lineup is sneaky. Them Royals at 40-1, Kyle. What are we taking a look at here?
I'm telling you, and I got to say, I was all fired up before the show. Okay, I knew Donnie was taking my long shot. Okay, I already knew that was happening, and that happens all the time. So I'm used to that in football by now. That always happens. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of liking the Royals. I like, I like the addition of Benintendi. I like all this. If Mike Minor can sort of go back to a couple years ago and pitch well, maybe they got a shot, do some of this small ball stuff. I like Santana and Soler in the middle of that lineup, and I love that number. And again, it's another division where, yes, the White Sox are the sexy pick, and they do have, look, Lynn and Giolito. These are guys who are in the top 5 or 6 in terms of odds right now to win the Cy Young. So they have all that talent there, but I don't trust the Chicago White Sox. I never have, and I never will. I do enjoy the Frank Thomas pills, and she'll thank you later. But I got to tell you, so I was all on in this Kansas City plus 2,500 looking like a crazy person, and then after we talk a little bit behind the scenes, and Jason's talking about Cleveland, and as I start to look into it, I'm like, well, damn it, that's probably the better play here. So I agree with the Indians. I did throw a sprinkle on the Royals just because that's such a big number, and I'm willing to lock up just a few bucks here, nothing that breaks the bank. If they become this sleeper team that runs away with that division, I'm going to look like a genius later on. So I do like the Royals. I think you could do way worse than the Royals at their long shot number. But I think Jason's spot on with the Indians.
Get hot out there in Kansas City, Missouri. Look at that opening day lineup with Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Alberto Mondesi, Carlos Santana, Salvador Perez, Jorge Soler, Hunter Dozier, Kyle Isabel, Michael Taro. Now, I don't like Michael Taro at all, so I should probably leave him out of the lineup. That guy's that's supposed to be so many over-unders. He is a pitcher, but he is a absolutely monster in center field trying to steal runs out there. We'll see if that comes back to bite us. But when I see that stuff gets me excited. Like the Royals, forget about winning the division, like day-to-day basis. Royals stink. And I'm like, they just got 5 runs yesterday. Let's see if we can catch this in.
And they know they got to score to win, most likely with Keller out there. I mean, they know they're going to have to score. So I think the Royals are going to be a lot of fun this year. A sneaky team for us. I agree.
Yep, Soler into the water fountains out there. Let's make it happen. AL West. Houston Astros, Oakland Athletics, Los Angeles Angels, Seattle Mariners, and the Texas Rangers. Look, I look at the Texas Rangers lineup, and that's basically what I have to say. Like, I don't have any words for it. That's a Major League Baseball team. You could have fooled me on that one. But looking at the teams up front, the Astros catch a lot of flack because, yes, they're cheaters. Yes, we hate them. We didn't get a chance to boo them around Major League Baseball like everybody wanted to because there were no fans. That's still a really talented 1 through 9 with a good pitching staff. But I always have that East Coast love for a West Coast team in the Oakland Athletics. I don't know if it's because every night at 10:05 you settle in and there's the game with, even though they're supposed to have fans, there's like only 250 people. Most are just family and friends to watch them play. I think the Athletics have a legitimate shot to win this division. I'm taking them at 155. But another point in this one, it's a new year. It's like Groundhog Day. It's 2021. The Angels have a lot of money. They spend money on hitting. They can't seem to formulate a pitching staff since I was like a baby in diapers. I don't know what it is with the Angels. Imagine if their owner, Artie Moreno, just got smart and said, I'm just going to pay for dominant pitching, and we're finally going to put a team around Trout. They don't do it, which is why, again, they are sitting third in the division when they should not be. With Rendon and Trout should be enough to carry your entire offense. Get me some pitching. I don't think they can win this division. Jason, what are we looking at here in the AL West?
I mean, you nailed it right on the head. The Angels are that team that everyone's always on. Oh, they have a chance. They can do it. They have Rendon. They have Trout. The reality is they could have traded Joe Adell, who does not look nearly as good as we expected last year. And they could have got a guy like Darvish. They could have got a guy like Snell. They could have helped the rotation, and they just never do it. Griffin Canning is not going to get the job done. The only guy that they have is Bundy. So I'm with you. I think the Astros and Athletics, it's obviously their division. I think the Astros underperformed last year. Obviously, they didn't have a winning record in the regular season. But then, when the playoffs came, they became the Astros that we knew of. So it's going to be a great battle between those two teams. Either team has a chance. So they're both plus money. If you want to take both, and just hope that the Angels don't make it, you could do that. So either way, I'd be on either of those two teams.
Yeah. AL West, Kyle, give your thoughts. That's your hometowns out there. Towns,
yes,
as they like to say.
Yes, it is. Well, I mean, I'm National League Giants. But just real quick, just to touch on the Texas Rangers in terms of fantasy baseball, for those of you who are doing your drafts the next couple of days before you start, the Texas Rangers do have a couple of guys you can get super late in your fantasy baseball drafts. Nick Solak, for one, who's been absolutely tearing it up in spring training. He looks like he's going to be the second baseman. He's going to be batting number 2. You can get him in like the 23rd, 24th round. I think that's a nice pick. Of course, as a team, they're going to be absolutely god-awful. And one other guy is their catcher, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. You can get him super late. He's eligible at multiple positions. So when you're looking for sort of that backup catcher, maybe you've drafted a Will Smith earlier in your draft and you need that backup catcher. A guy like Falefa can play catcher and other positions, give you that multi-diversity. So I do think there's some advantages there. But no, I'm with you guys. I like the Oakland A's. I don't like that they lost Chris Davis. He lost a little bit of pop in that lineup. I know he's a strikeout machine, but he also can whack the ball out of the park. But the Oakland A's are always in it. I mean, the creators of small ball, the creators of money ball, these guys know what to do. And I'm with you guys. The Angels, I know everyone loves the Angels, and I see that number, but I can't honestly remember an Angels pitcher that mattered to me since like Jim Abbott in the 90s. And that's only because I was fascinated by watching him transfer the glove and field after he it was absolutely incredible. I think Oakland has a really good chance here. I wish the number was a little bit juicier. Houston, I'm not going to bet on Houston. I do think they have some stuff there. I like their closer, Presley, et cetera. But Oakland for me, and we're going to talk about some Cy Young long shots later, I think Oakland has a great shot in this division. I like the Oakland A's.
We're going to have some lists as the summer goes along because one of my favorite lists are like pain lists. Me and Kyle are big into pain and talking about it. It's when I preface this by saying, let's just say it's a team total with the Oakland Athletics. You got to get over 4.5. They got 4. It's the 9th inning. There's one out. There's a man on third. And Chris Davis comes to the plate, and immediately I have to walk away from the TV and just to settle my thoughts in how bad a beat I'm about to have because I don't know if he's going to make contact with the baseball. So get ready for some of those shows where we have some fun throughout the summer, which, hey, remember this guy? Do you want this guy up in this situation or this pitcher in? We're going to have a lot of that good stuff here. But that is the roundabout for Major League Baseball and some of the divisional futures market. Just a fun way to wet the whistle for the season. Get into it here. Maybe you want to bet a little bit of money on those, but all three of us agree. I'm not a huge future guy, which means, once opening day here, I don't care what happens because I have my futures in. It's nice to just see who's going to win. Then we can rewind the tape and like, Jesus, Don, you had the Oakland A's to win the West. They came in dead last. Well, get ready for that. There's probably going to be a pretty good appetite for that. But let's talk about winners. World Series odds. I'll go first. I have 2 teams. One isn't really a long shot at all. It's the Dodgers. They're plus 350. If I'm going to lay $100 on it to win 350, so be it. If the entire starting pitching staff goes down, their secondary pitching staff is just as good as half the Major League Baseball teams and the same thing with their lineup 1 through 8. They lose 4 or 5 guys, so what? They put in 4 or 5 brand new all-stars or guys you never heard of who will turn into all-stars. But my deep shot here that I teased on the video earlier, it's the Washington Nationals. I don't even think the Nationals are going to win the NL East, but it's not about a 162-game schedule. It's trying to project the playoffs if the team gets there. It's all about pitching when it comes to late September, early October, and trying to win a World Series. They have 3 dogs up front if they stay healthy. Corbin, Scherzer, and Strasburg. If they make it to the playoffs, that's a nice ticket to have at 30-1. I don't like them that much in the regular season. I don't even think they win the division. But if they can steal wild card, watch out. Let's start with you here first. Again, Jason, some futures here on picking the World Series champion in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can talk about the Mets all day, and they have an owner that wants to spend. Obviously, if they have a spot where they need to make a deal at the deadline or whatever, they'll do it. And obviously, that helps you and makes you confident with a ticket on the Mets at around plus 1,200. But obviously, I talked about my Indians, how much I like them. They're right now. I see plus 5,000. And like you just said, Donnie, it all comes down to pitching. And we saw the Indians, they were in the postseason last year, and obviously they had to get the Yankees. But, they're a really good team in terms of pitching, and I think their hitting does it better. And if that's the case, then why not? Why not with that rotation? And they're only going to be growing another year. So at plus 5,000, why not?
No, exactly correct here. Take a look at that World Series outright winners, Kyle. What are we looking at here?
Man, I'm just loving that Indians pick more and more. So I'm so grateful to hear Jason's thoughts on all of that, because the more he talks about it, the more likely I am. I'm probably going to put some money on at the end of the show. So if I'm at the top and I'm looking at the chalk thing, but still getting a plus 900, plus 1,000 number, I like the Padres. The additions of Snell and Darvish and that young lineup, I really do think that team is poised to do it. And the reason I can feel it is all my Padre friends, all my friends from San Diego are so excited. So I just know they're going to win the World Series and then sell off the entire team and break the heart of the city again. So I'm looking forward to all of that because I know what's coming. I like the Padres at the top. But when I look at the value, again, I like the Blue Jays at 25 to 20 plus 2,500. I do like the Blue Jays there. And I look at a team, I completely agree with Donnie on Washington. A lot of people, when we make these, we make multiple future, 4 or 5 teams, small little parcels of money, if you will, at them. I think Washington makes a ton of sense, especially with Scherzer, Strasburg, et cetera. You talked about it. But I like Oakland as well. I think Oakland can get it done. I like the rotation. I like that lineup. I think Oakland at plus I'm looking at plus 3,300 here at Bet Online. I think that's another team that I would strongly consider for a futures bet, World Series style, if you will.
When we're taking a look at these future wagers, it's hard because it's basically 6 to 7 months. So if you want the Cardinals at 22-1, you put $100 down, you got to wait for that money. But some people put that money down on the Houston Cougars basketball squad, and you can get that money back in 3 weeks. So hopefully,
I have an 18-1 bet, by the way.
Right now.
You guys aren't the only one. I took it 18-1 after the first couple rounds, so I feel pretty good about it, actually.
Yep, the futures market can definitely make some money on now as we sort of flip it over and say, not really so much teams that we're talking about. How about some Cy Young winners and try to see what's going to take place in the Cy Young market? We're going to get to some MVPs in just a few moments. So actually, you know what? No, we're going MVP first. Switch it up here. I'm a little bit dyslexic on the day, and I'm sure you see the guys like typing in the computer like, oh, no, I had the other league up here, which I currently did as well. But let's go over MVP odds. This is astounding. And I know it's like looking at LeBron James or Giannis and saying these two guys are in the lead and you're going to pay a lot. Mike Trout is plus 220 to win an MVP. If Mike Trout bangs up his thumb and misses 2 weeks, if Mike Trout sprains his ankle stealing a base or jams his shoulder stealing a base and running a third or crashing into a wall making a great play, you lost it. And you didn't be like, oh, my goodness, guys, plus 3,000. That's a shame. I had a long shot. I had it. Plus 220 to win MVP in the American League. We'll start there first. I can't spend it. He's the best player in baseball. I'm not laying 220, Jason. Just put it that way. Or you give it to me.
Yeah, it's really hard to figure out the MVP. I mean, look, last year it was Jose Abreu who came out of nowhere and ended up winning the AL MVP. Yep. You just never know. Like Kyle always says, some players will just go hit 330 and 58 home runs, and the next year they'll go 212 and 15 home runs. It's really, really tough to figure out MVP. But, you know, if I'm looking at the list right now, a guy like, we talk about Toronto, and like Kyle loves Toronto and thinks that they're really good with their entire lineup. Well, a guy like George Springer, plus 3,000. The Blue Jays, they signed him for a reason. He's there for a reason. They thought he was the missing piece and missing puzzle piece to what they're doing right now. He's plus 3,000. So if you're looking at, you know, a long shot there, Springer, I mean, just off a new contract, feeling good now, a little pressure off him now. Why not? Why not Springer?
No, it's a good point. And you're looking to take some of these long shots, because I actually have two of them in the AL. I need somebody off of the White Sox, because I think the White Sox have a good chance at winning the division. It means you're going to be in the playoffs playing for some big things. And you're taking a look at a lot of guys on that team that can win it. But I'm looking at, you know, Tim Anderson at plus 3,500. So a 35-1 ticket here. A guy that plays an elite position that's going to get noticed, can hit 35 to 40 home runs if he gets hot. One of those deeper shot type guys. And also, the one I couldn't understand all that much, because the number I got here was Giancarlo Stanton at plus 3,500, which he still sits here on my odds board. And then I look at Aaron Judge at plus 1,200, and I say, I'm getting the same guy. Yeah. Both of these guys can, if they stay healthy, hit 50 home runs. Why would I pay 12-1 when I can get 35-1 for the same exact guy? And also, if Giancarlo Stanton is going to be a DH, he's not taking the wear and tear in the outfield like Aaron Judge would. Two long shots for me in the AL. Kyle, what are you looking at?
I think that makes a ton of sense. And I think it's important to remind people, different from the NFL and mostly the NBA, you don't have to be on a winning team to win the MVP in baseball. You could be on the worst team in the entire league, hit
losing record as a pitcher, and still win the Cy Young.
Exactly. So it's really something to keep an eye on. Like, it really does change how you do some of those futures things. Because, you know, when you're looking at NFL, you're like, okay, who's going to be the quarterback on the team with the best record? No quarterback on a 6-10 team is winning the MVP. But in baseball, it certainly happens, and I'm really glad you brought up the Blue Jays. I love the George Springer comment. Let's hope he's ready at the beginning of the year. I know he's dealing, I think it's an oblique. Is that what the issue is? Something like that. But what about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. sitting here at plus 2,000? If they're putting up a ton of runs and this kid's able to get hot in the middle of that lineup in the AL East, a lot of runs should be scored. I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. makes a whole ton of sense. And as I scroll down, going back to your White Sox, which I think shows how the universe is connected, right? As our brains connect doing this show. I love that. Yoan Moncada at 33-1. If the White Sox do what they want to do, Yoan Moncada, stabilizing force in the middle of that lineup, always been a good hitter. I think he's another guy at 33-1 that you could take a shot on as well. So those would be the two guys in terms of long shots. I do want to say one guy at the top that makes no sense. On Bet Online, the second best odds are tied for Luis Robert and Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, does anyone think either of these guys are actually going to be the MVP? I would put no money. If there was a way I could bet against them even being in the top 5 and make money on it, I would. I think that's really bizarre odds sitting there at the top with Robert and Ohtani.
Connor Butler in the chat box says Ohtani plus 3,300 for me. You can send all your hate mail into Kyle at SPR odds.
3,300. I'm making a plus 800 right in front of my face.
That's good.
3,300 is a little high, and he's not winning the MVP. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, send the mail over.
National League MVP this year, Fernando Tatis plus 7-1, Soto 7-1, Mookie Betts plus 750, and Ronald Acuna Jr. 750 at the odds board I'm looking at. Those are the front runners here. I'm going to go with two from the same division. If I'm looking at a team like the Atlanta Braves, who I think can win the division, I'm going to pass over Acuna plus 750, and I'm going to go Freddie Freeman at 15-1. He can hit 340, he can 35 jacks and play decent at first base. That's a legitimate shot as a deeper shot. And also for my hometown, Philadelphia Phillies, 15-1 Bryce Harper. Not because I think they can win the division, because I really don't think they can. But if Bryce Harper gets hot out in April and then through the summer months at Citizens Bank Ballpark, if he can run it up there and get close to 40 home runs, he will be in the mix. And if the Phillies are in the mix for a wild card position, he'll get a lot of looks. So two 15-1 shots in the NL East I'm looking at. Jason, we'll start with you first here. NL MVP, who are we looking at?
Well, the top of the NL is pretty stacked in terms of MVP compared to the AL. You got like Mookie Betts, Juan Soto, Cody Bellinger, Fernando Tatis, Acuna. But, I like Yelich. Like we said, I think Yelich obviously is going to improve this year. I think he's going to have a much better year. And, Kyle said you don't need to have a winning season, but obviously a winning season does help it as well.
Sure.
So I do like Yelich here. I think Lindor makes, a splash with the Mets in that lineup. Freddie Freeman, of course, is always terrific for the Braves. So you can't really go wrong with any of those batters around that plus 1,200 range. So that's what I would look at right there.
Gotcha, Kyle. What are you looking at here?
Well, of course, I agree. And at the top, guys like Tatis and Soto, they're very sexy picks and justifiably so. But I like a couple of long shots in the NL. You talked about the Washington Nationals earlier. What about a guy like Trey Turner sitting there at plus 3,300? If he can get back to sort of being there every day, hitting the ball out of the park, I think Trey Turner, especially if they were able to make the wild card, which Jason says you don't have to have it, but of course it helps to be on a winning team. I think Trey Turner could be interesting. And on that same Atlanta Braves side, what about Marcell Ozuna sitting way down here at plus 4,000? If he can start jacking the ball out of the park, 45 plus home runs, not have one of these disastrous strikeout season, and Atlanta's able to win the NL East, I think Ozuna down here at plus 4,000 offers a little bit of value as well.
Over to the pitching market, Cy Young winners, both the National League and the American League. We will start in the American League for this one. The front runners, Garrett Cole and Shane Bieber, followed by Lucas Giolito, Tyler Glasnow, and Hyun-Jin Ryu. If I'm looking up top, which I like to take pedigree, it's hard to not take Garrett Cole because he's going to win a lot of games with the Yankees. They're going to back him up. His stats, I should say, should be impressive from at least a winning perspective. And we know he's a top-flight pitcher. He's going to get a big-time strikeout ratio. But we'll also see if he can stay healthy, which is the same thing with every major league pitcher that we talk about. You're going to pay a hefty price. But the guy who's coming in here at FanDuel with the same exact price is Shane Bieber at plus 330. Electric stuff. And I think he can continue that this year. If I'm going to take a shot in the AL, I'm going Shane Bieber. Jason, I'll start with you first. AL Cy Young. Who are we looking at?
Yeah, I'm a big Indians guy this year. And, of course, if the Indians are going to do anything this year, it's going to be because of Bieber. I talked about how great their pitching is. It's all because of Bieber. So, yeah, I'm with you 100% with Shane Bieber.
But by the way, real quick on this, Jason, we're talking about pitchers now. We're going to get to I'm going to save this for the National League because it'll be a good segue. Kyle, what are we looking at here for the American League Cy Young?
Just to mention too, I'm looking here at Bet Online Bieber plus 600. So if you're on a Bieber,
there you go. Hey, shop around.
You got to shop those books, and that's one of the beautiful things about sportsbookreview.com, right? You go to the website and you can shop the books for anything that you want. That's what we do. So be sure to get over to sbrpicks.com/MLB or any other sport you're looking for and check out the sportsbookreview.com website because you can shop the books right there on one screen, which is always valuable to me. Looking at the top, I agree with Bieber. And, the Giolitos, if the White Sox do well, he'll be in the running. A guy like Tyler Glasnow at plus 1,000 for Tampa Bay, if they're able to keep going, he's going to be the guy now there in Tampa Bay. I do think that there's some value there. I went my favorite long shot talking about those Oakland Athletics, Chris Bassett at plus 4,000. I love what this young kid did 2 years ago. I know it wasn't super great yesterday, but I really do think sitting that number 2, number 3 role for Oakland, if they're able to make the playoffs, win the AL West, I love this kid's stuff. He's on both of my fantasy baseball teams, plus 4,000. I think Chris Bassett makes a lot of sense as a long shot Cy Young guy.
NL Cy Young quickly here. Jacob deGrom leads the path. You're going to pay anywhere between like plus 300 to plus 400, which is amazing for a Cy Young, a winner. But I would take Jacob deGrom and take that chalk here. But the reason I wanted to bring up that segue quickly here is Trevor Bauer is about plus 750 around that range, 8-1, depending on where you're shopping at. Take a look at Trevor Bauer. We see like Major League Baseball dumbing down the baseball, say taking the juice out. But if we see the other notes here, you're not allowed to use any foreign substance whatsoever. These guys are all about spin rate and using ridiculous creams and lotion and suntan lotion in their hair to try to get every grip on the ball you can, which might not be the case. I could see it driving Trevor Bauer wild here. But your thoughts quickly on that, Jason, and then the National League Cy Young candidate for you.
Yeah, it could obviously hurt Bauer here. But I think it's also funny, like, yeah, like as a Met fan, did I want Bauer? Of course I did. But the problem with Bauer is that he's a ridiculous human being. He does some crazy things. Coming to New York probably would have been the best scenario. He wouldn't have fit. So kind of happy that he's not here anymore. And if you look at like ERAs and things like that, compared to like the career ERAs of all the Mets pitchers, like Carrasco, for example, they have the same career ERA. he banked off of one good half of a season, and you gotta give him credit where credit's due. That was fantastic. He made a ton of money off of one half of a season. But if I'm looking for a winner, I'd be looking at some of the Milwaukee teams. They get Brandon Woodruff, probably the guy that I would look at, who I think is a little bit underrated and could have a really great season. Big strikeout guy, gets ground balls at a good rate. Also, Corbin Burns, they're going to have to be the two guys that have to step up for Milwaukee to be successful. So those two guys, I think, will have great seasons. Obviously, I love Jacob deGrom and a lot of the NL East pitchers, but we have to remember the entire division is really stacked in terms of their bats. Like the Mets are really good, the Phillies are really good, the Nationals probably have with the MVP and Juan Soto. It's a tough division, and they got to play it 1/3 of the time. So let's look at a division, a team that could play the Pirates for a bunch of times, 20 times, and that's Milwaukee. If they're able to win the division, that means that Woodruff and Burns are pitching really well.
So basically what Jason was saying here, Kyle, that he loves Zach Wheeler 40-1. Your thoughts here on the Cy Young Award for the NL?
Well, I got to tell you, I love everything he just said because I absolutely agree. And even though it's not the picks I'm going to make here because that would be boring, but I think everything that Jason said makes a ton of sense. Playing the Pirates 20 times a year is such a benefit to any pitcher in that division. But I'm looking at a guy who's won the award, who's shown he can be the best pitcher in the league. You got Max Scherzer at 11-1. I think that's some nice value there. Again, Jason's absolutely right. That's a tough division with bats everywhere. We've talked about the Phillies, the Mets. Every team in that division can hit outside of the Marlins, and they even still found a way to make the playoffs. So it's certainly tough. A guy like Blake Snell at the top at 12-1 in the NL West, if the Padres are able to go somewhere, I think he's nice. And going one more step further for the Padres, now, it looks like he might miss maybe his first or second start to start the year, but I love myself some Karate Kid, and that's Danielson Lamet. I call him the Karate Kid. I know his name's Denelson, but it's close enough to Danielson where I will call him the Karate Kid forever and ever. Make sure you tweet that out, hashtag Karate Kid. I'm sure he'll love that nickname. Plus 2,500, the kid has nasty stuff. If he can get healthy, pitch over 200 innings, and the Padres do well in that division, I think the Karate Kid could be interesting value as well.
There you go. He's got to go to the Miyagi dojo to try to get healthy,
Bam, wax on, wax off.
Right there. Wax on, wax off. Look at that. A full hour showdown. We didn't even get to talk about individual games here, and we could go for days and days and days. Yep. So this is going to be fun stuff throughout the Major League Baseball season. To set the table with some final thoughts here. Yep, did a show today. Tomorrow, I will be pacing around my house, getting ready for opening day. And also this year, what is good, the show starts at 2:30 p.m. So what does that mean for us game time-wise? There's going to be a couple games that start at noon, 1 o'clock, or even 2 o'clock that are on the board. We're going to make sure that we hit right at the top of each and every show, in-game live, so to speak, where we're going to come on the air. Hey, look, the Mets and the Phillies, it's 2-1 the third inning. Throw some thoughts around, take some live wagers. We are going to be in and out in baseball season, all up and down the card. Games that are getting previewed, games in play. Take a look at it for the season. Some quick final thoughts here. I'll start with you, Jason. Thoughts on the 2021 season and what we're ready to do here, buddy?
Yeah, like we always said earlier, it's going to be weird early on. The weather, the balls, the DH not being with the NL. So, tread lightly. We'll figure it out. But, just take it slow. Just take it slow. We got a long season ahead of us. So take it slow early and enjoy it because we got a full season of baseball ahead.
Yep, there you go, Kyle. What are we looking for? 2021, we kick off. We got a day to sort of rehash, get ready, because then the live bullets are going on Thursday. I'm excited, man.
Me too. I'm so excited. And I got to say real quick, I feel for Trevor Bauer because what if they took away all my creams and substances? I don't know what the hell I would
and
do.
Your drums. No more.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell would I actually do? But no, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think what Jason said is right. MLB, every player, every team is different from year to year. So it's going to be the slow building process as we learn what all these teams do. And luckily, I mean, I'm with two people who don't work any harder on this. We're going to have every stat info you can have. Those afternoon slates are going to be super fun for DFS. We'll be able to find those pivoting spots. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Really excited to be a part of it. And I appreciate you all making us a part of your day.
Yep, join us on a season-long adventure right here at sportsbookreview.com. Thank you for hitting all those subscribe buttons over the years and also the thumbs up, the thumbs down, leaving comments here. We are ready to rock and roll on Thursday. Get ready. The good thing about today is the microphones worked, the cameras worked, everything looks great behind the scenes. We are ready to go for opening day, Major League Baseball on Thursday at 2:30. Thank you for spending a Tuesday with us, talking a little bit of Major League Baseball. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, also with Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com, and we are ready for the Major League Baseball season in 2021. Good luck on those futures wagers.